And so, like how wine is great as it gets older, Melo's still showing he's great as he gets older.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Melo's the role he didn't want in Oklahoma City.
Carmelo Anthony throws it straight away.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, episode 57. Another amazing week for Melo and the Blazers. If you are watching this right now, I'm sure you're aware that they've been killing it. Melo's been killing it, and just everything is good right now. You know, apology forms are being signed. Highlights are being shown all across ESPN, Bleacher Report, all about Carmelo Anthony. So it's been amazing to see. We have one of our first repeat guests. I think we had maybe one, maybe two repeat guests so far. And I made a call to the bullpen for tonight's episode, and on extremely short notice, he was nice enough to hop on with me. So I'd like to welcome back to the show, Big Ha. Big Ha, what's going on, bro?
Salute, Steve. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Happy to be here. Yes, it was short notice, but I'm always here, man. I try to be as available as I can, you know. So it's good to see you, man. Last time we really chopped it up was with the documentary. You know, that's doing very well right now. Proud to say, and salute to you for that. Great job, well done for you and the producers. So I'm here, man.
Yo, your voices, your clips, your sound bites from that shit was, you know, like I had to tell the video editors, like, yo, like we got to put some of the other people in here because they were just putting your shit fucking everywhere.
Salute.
But I'm like, yo, like let's go. We gotta differentiate it up a little bit. But anyway, man. Right. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. And can't wait for all the shit to be over with. People have been tweeting me like, yo, we need to get like a control meetup, watch a game, and like been fucking dying for that shit. Just like
can't wait, man. When the world opens up, man, we definitely doing that. We definitely have to do that, man. Along with some other things I wanted to discuss with you at a later note off the thing. But yeah.
Let's do it. Yo, so to get into Melo and the Blazers and shit, you know, last time we kind of talked a little bit about your basketball fandom and all that shit. So the first question, like a little icebreaker intro question for tonight's episode. What do you think Melo's most underrated moment or game is, and why?
Okay, so you only could be a real, true, genuine Melo fan to understand what I'm about to say. Okay. All right, and I know you are, but I'm talking about our fan base, the Melo family, you know, the Melo soldiers, whatnot, the Control the Narrative family. November 14th, 2012. That's where I got the 12 mixed up. San Antonio. At San Antonio, 9 points. I'm throwing a throwback here. 9 points, 12 rebounds, and I believe 3 assists, and a win. The reason why I was underrated, first off, our boy had 9 points. Unheard of, right? Especially as the number one option in his prime.
Back then, yep.
And Raymond Felton, of all people, led the team that night with 25 points.
Remember that.
And Jason Kidd had 14. Both hit key threes off of Melo passes. That was the most underrated moment, in my opinion, because it's not a moment that we are accustomed to at all. All his moments that we're accustomed to is game winners, clutch shots, you know, things of that nature, high scoring outages. But to have 9 points, and Coach Pop said Melo was the player of the game, because he's controlled the game, even though he only scored 9 points.
Respect.
And it was a proud moment because San Antonio, as we know, the tough defense that they play, Coach Pop is one of the coaches that's always had a game plan to go against Melo, right? And they basically shut him down scoring-wise. You know, not a great shooting night, things of that nature. But for him to make key plays all game that night was very underrated. No one's going to talk about it because he had 9 points.
Respect.
But for me, I want all our family to go and look and remember that was underrated because he had 9 points, 12 boards, 3 assists, and a win over San Antonio Spurs when they were the Spurs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's also during our 54-win season.
Respect. And I don't know if you knew this. We did this on we had like control game night when there was a a break from the NBA and shit, but the Spurs are the team that Melo averages the least points against.
See?
So makes sense.
Mhm.
But that's dope. That's a good one.
Right.
Yo, let's get into the Blazers and Melo's play lately, averaging well above 9 points over the past, I don't know, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Dating back to the game before, 2 games before his MSG, the 2-point performance, but just been killing it on all levels. Offensively, obviously, been shooting efficiently. Defensively, never gets the credit. And again, nobody's sitting here saying he's been a lockdown defender, but he's solid. He doesn't suck. So, what do you think has been the number one thing that's allowed Melo and that's allowing him to play at such a high level for this extended period of time? Because we've seen in his Blazers tenure, he has some really good games and some really not so good games, but it seems like he's stringing together a lot of good games, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. So what do you think if you had to pick one thing or like the number one thing that's been allowing him to do that?
It's I know that it's hard. It's kind of hard to just say pinpoint one thing because I think it's multiple. I would combine 2 things that go hand in hand.
Go ahead.
Being in health, being in shape, coincided with his mindset. I think he has the right frame of mind. He's more relaxed. He understands that he's been, accepted into that Portland family. So he's comfortable. So within any bad shooting night, he understands. Put in the work with the assists. Defense, like you said, which is very underrated. Rebounding the ball. We all know he's a rhythm player. He just discussed that the other night in an interview. Yep. That, sometimes the ball's not going to go in, but he's doing other things, his leadership qualities, key plays that he's making down the stretch. Oh, and we all know, I believe he's one of the most clutch corner 3-point shooters in the fourth quarter of the NBA. So that tells you no matter how poor of a shooting night he's having, he's going to come through when needed. And Dame and his teammates trust him in that. And Coach Stotts, for the most part,
I was going to say, not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time, but for the most part, he trusts in him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say mindset, his mindset along with him being in shape, man. Melo looks very he's probably in one of the best shapes of his life or let's say in a long time, and it's paying dividends.
Yeah, for sure. You could see that shit out on the court. For me, man, I think you mentioned it, just being comfortable. I think when CJ and Nurk went down, I don't know if Melo was like pressing, trying to be like, I need to be the second scoring option or like I need to produce or whatever the fuck the case was. But it just seems like, I don't know if you remember, but, earlier in the season and even when they went down, it seemed like every time he was getting the ball, he had to shoot it. It was like he kind of took that mindset of like, what I do is score, and this is what the team needs right now, so this is what I'm going to do. If I go 1 for 9, so be it. If I go 2 for 10, so be it. Whatever the fuck the case is. But for whatever reason, I think Gary Trent, even I don't even fuck with Simons like that, but Simon's stepping up. He's been putting up some points. I think it's kind of allowed Melo to not feel like he has to go out and drop 20, 25 every night, which is why he's doing it.
Right.
If that makes sense. It's like,
yeah, it does.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't feel that pressure because he knows Gary could have a game. He knows Simons could have a game.
And to piggyback off what you said, no, excellent what you said. It goes back to like we said, the mindset. He knows when to pick his spots. Me, you, and most of us is on the sideline watching, saying, "Yo, they need to get him involved. Give him the ball." Screaming at the TV, "Give him the ball!" I'm screaming all night. Give him the ball. They have a terrible job of when he has mismatches or when he has somebody pinned down to do a barbecue chicken in the lane. They hesitate. They get the ball stolen. They don't pass. Well, when he finally gets the pass, he's already been pushed back out further away from the basket. That's another thing that takes away your rhythm, right? So, but even despite those situations, he knows how to pick his spots. He gets right back at it. He doesn't get down. He doesn't get frustrated. We know that Melo. We know that face he gives when he's pissed off at his teammates. You know what I mean? We're not seeing it as much because he's like, all right, whatever. When it's my time, it's my time, and I'm gonna go berserk. So that's what I mean about his mindset. Is definitely more of a mature, more like, all right, y'all get yours. When it's my time, I'm gonna get mine. So when my number's called. So
Yeah, it all goes back to that, obviously. And then the thing is that, like, on his bad nights, it's not like he's getting blocked. It's not like he can't get a shot off. This is a dude who can get a shot off against almost anybody at any point.
Anybody.
At like literally anybody at any time. So it's never been that. It's just whether the ball goes in or not. And it's like you said, he said it was a rhythm thing. He's always been a rhythm player. He's in such a great rhythm right now. And yeah, I think you're right. I think the mindset just
Absolutely
it's clicking right now. And everybody is on the same page, from the president to the coach to the star player to Melo to all these supporting guys. So it's just been dope to see. But kind of going on that same topic, obviously I should have pulled up the numbers. He's averaging like 18 or 19 over the past.
Well, I got you in the last 4 games I can speak on. We know I believe there's 6-1 in the last 7 where he's averaging 19. But the last 4 games, 21.3 points, three rebounds, 1 assist, 44.8 from 3-point, and 26 minutes per game. So
you came fucking prepared.
So yeah, always, man. Even in last minute, in last second, man. This is what I I just wanted, and salute to him for stepping up and doing what he does, doing what we all know him and love him to do, despite all of the injuries and adversity that Portland has gone through, to be 16-10, battling right now for home court at the 4th seed. They're currently 5th seed, a game out, but they're right there. And a little caveat, like I was saying to somebody earlier today, if Portland stays in that position 4 or 5 and play Phoenix and beat Phoenix, and Utah stays at number 1, Portland got Utah 2nd round, which means they can get to that Western Conference Finals.
Bro, that's it's always been like, as soon as CJ Nurk went down, it's always been about just staying afloat. Nobody thought that they would go 6-1 in a 7-game stretch, and they've beaten good teams. So with all that being said, how important do you think Melo's scoring, just the scoring alone, has been to this team in this time?
Say that is how his impact.
Just how important do you think his scoring alone has been to this team, especially obviously with CJ and Nurk out?
Extremely important. Extremely important. Extremely important. His skill set, what he brings to the table. It's not even just about scoring. That hockey assist that we remember that he used to get in New York, and then it translates to now over in Portland, where when he gets doubled, sometimes triple teamed. And this is what getting Gary Trent Jr. and Simons and Dame and these people wide open looks, or he'll find you when you cut to the basket, as we see him make the game-winning assist the other night, right? Against Dallas. But as far as just scoring, it's much needed. Obviously, when you lose Nurk inside, which Cantor has stepped in his place very well.
Yeah, he has.
But on CJ, which Gary Trent seemed to be stepping into his role, you know what I'm saying? But Melo is a key cog. Obviously, it should be, I think, even more of an option. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a biased opinion. That's just a fact that the man is too good for him not to be one of the top options. For whatever reason, they don't utilize him like that. But neither here nor there. But his scoring is extremely important, because without what he's been doing these last 7-8 games, where would we be? Will we obviously the 6-1 record is the one time they lost, he had 2 points. Right. That shows you the value. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that, because that was home and Stotts giving him the minutes. That was a disaster and embarrassing. But he was. It seemed like that motivated him. He's been on a tear since, and he was actually on a tear 2 games prior to the Knicks game. But we're 6-1 in the last 7. His lowest output in them 6 wins was 15 points, right? The one loss he had 2. Everything else was over 21 points. So scoring is very important.
Setting season highs every other game.
Every other game. And if it wasn't for the guards, chucking, he would really be scoring higher. But whatever.
Yeah. And I think this is like, thinking about it now, it's like an obvious question. Obviously, it's fucking important when you lose a guy like CJ who was averaging 28 at the time, like having the best year of his career,
having an all-star caliber year, and to lose that
100%, and just having another option on the court and a playmaker.
That's the word.
We saw that in that Dallas game, playmaking and the hockey assists and all that shit. It's so important to have a guy out there like that. You could have spot-up shooters. Gary Trent could spot up. Covington, you can have those guys, great, but it doesn't mean shit if they're double teaming Dame, triple teaming Dame, and they get the ball out of his hands, and those guys can't get their own shot like that. That's what's been the most important thing.
And I want to piggyback real quick because I know we got to go on to the other question real quick. The point when you said the ball handling, playmaking, shout out, salute. I want to give a salute to our Melo fam soon, but towards the end. But shout out to Kadar N. He's always saying that Melo should be point forward, and I agree. And the reason why is look how effective he himself as well as the team is when he's handling the ball. It's usually always a good result that comes out of it, right? They have Rodney Hood trying to play that role, and he plays it okay, but he's sometimes seen to be a little bit nervous or not sure, uncertain. Where Melo, he's the vet. He knows what's what. He knows how to. He knows how to pass the ball, which is why he's always entrusted on doing the inbounds on a key play or end of a quarter or whatever. Who they have inbounding the ball is Melo because he knows how to pass. I think he's the best passer on the team.
That's
in my honest opinion. I think he's the best passer on the team.
The inbounder shit is a great point. I didn't even think about that. They always have him because they trust his instinct and shit like that. And what's the difference between inbounding the ball and reading a pick? Like reading a screen and roll.
Absolutely.
So, great point. I actually said that on an episode maybe like a month ago when CJ went down. I was like, CJ was like pretty much the backup point guard when Dame's not in. CJ's handling the rock, and Simons isn't that guy who's going to facilitate. And I was like, yo, they have the backup point guard that they need. It's Melo. It's
Melo. Melo. They need to let him handle the ball more.
They do it here and there, like maybe 2-3 times a game, but it always seems to be in a good result. So, you quickly talked about 6-1. Melo has been not leading it. Obviously, Dame is the leader, but Melo's been a huge part in this winning streak that they've been on. How has your outlook on the season changed? And obviously, I don't know about you. I'm not a Blazer fan forever. I'll always have a place in my heart for them for taking in our guy. But as somebody who's rooting for the Blazers to win, we'll put it that way. How has your outlook on the season changed from right now? This is Tuesday night. They play in OKC in 11 minutes. We're recording this down to the wire. Versus 2 weeks ago and where they were 2 weeks ago before they went on this little winning streak.
I'm personally feeling good. I'm feeling inspired because they came together as a unit, and the old cliche saying next man up. So through the injuries and through the adversity, they bonded together, and I believe led by Melo along with, of course, Dame, came together, banded as brothers, and they said, yo, we're gonna strap up them boots 10 toes down, get in the mud and let's get after it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they've done. That's what I believe they will continue to do. And I feel great. You know what I'm saying? I've never wavered when Melo was struggling shooting wise. I kind of felt like there was reasons why, the rhythm, not the lack of opportunities. I think he mentioned a little nagging injury here and there, but I never wavered. I knew that he'll come back, and I knew that, and the team is playing well. So I feel great. I feel inspired. I think they have a great opportunity with this Anthony Davis injury that I think is more serious than people is letting on.
100%.
Or people kind of know. So I think the gates are opening. It's opening because Portland will get healthy again. And I think the opportunities will be there as long as they band together, play team ball, and let our boy rock.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the most frustrating things, I don't want to say during the losing streak, but before this winning streak was, Melo wasn't having great games, and it just like it wasn't going well, and it was like energy. I feel like it was a lot of energy. They could score. That's always been their thing. They're not going to be a team who holds somebody under 100 points, 105, 110 really, but they always were able to keep up with other teams offensively. That's what the fuck they did in the bubble. They were just like, all right, you could score 120. We're going to score 125. Right. And it was working. Like, it was working for a while until they ran into the refs and the Lakers and after game 1 of the first round. But yeah, bro, it's just like a complete 180 turn when and obviously for Melo, because he was struggling. I went to that game in Houston. He scored 6 points on 3 shooting.
Like the 2 worst games that he's had was at one, and then when he was home and out
MSG.
I mean that was like the 2 worst games he's had. Yeah.
So for him personally, and then for the team, like Gary Trent, I think he's a star. He's a star in the making. I think he's going to go somewhere this offseason. He's going to get paid. And
love his.
Say that again.
I love his energy, Trent.
I love him.
He's
so good on both ends.
Utilize more of that on the defensive end, which he has. But I think that's where and get more steals and create havoc 100%. To help out that defense. But yeah,
100%. And it's just cool to see because honestly, people are saying, "Yo, Melo should have went to Brooklyn. Melo should have went to the Knicks." All this shit, and we could sit here and say, "Yo, he should have done this all fucking day."
Right.
But the fact that they're in this position, the 5th seed, with these 2 guys out for the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the fuck the case is, and
they've been sustaining. Yeah,
exactly. So just good energy, everything looking up for this team. Hype to see that. Another question that I've seen every time Melo puts up 22 points, 23 points, 24 points. The 2 words that people say, vintage Melo. Oh, vintage Melo is back. Yo, this was a vintage performance. The thing that I think is wild is when he's doing this every other night, every 3 nights, how is it vintage? Like, I don't understand how that's vintage when he does it multiple times a week. So what are your thoughts on the whole vintage Melo thing? Like I said, when he's doing this every other fucking night.
Right. So I'll quickly answer that because I know we're running out of time. But the vintage, it bothered me at first, and I agree with what you were saying. It's like, yo, this is what this man does. This is what our done does. It's like, without question, this is who he is, and who he always has been, and who he always will be until he retires. So it's nothing new to me and you. But when you look at the definition of what vintage is and all, and you do the analogy about fine wine and all, and ironically, Melo's is a wine person towards had his shows about wine tasting and things of that nature. I kind of like ease back and like, okay, they want to call him vintage because he's gracefully like fine wine. How they say fine wine tastes better. Well, pause. But Melo's game is just not. It's blossom. It's still unique. He's still showing he's unstoppable. And so like how wine is great as it gets older, Melo's still showing he's great as he gets older. So in that aspect, I'm not as bothered with the vintage word as I was, but I understand where you coming from because I was sharing those same lenses as you from that perspective. Like, come on, dude, this is what he does. Like, what are y'all talking about? But when I think about, wine and things and how great it is as it gets older, it's almost like Melo been doing this for decades, for eras, So it's all right. It don't bother me as much, but I do understand what you're saying.
Fair. Because, when I heard that shit, I'm like, bro, did they just not see 2 nights ago when he scored 21? Did they not see last night when he scored fucking 23 and now he scores 24?
Yeah, so. Like, it's not a shock. Stop acting surprised by this.
Right. Yeah, that's my thing. It's like the vintage Melo shit. I get it if they mean it in the context of, yo, he's still doing this. This is awesome.
Right.
This is a vintage dude. But when they say, oh, shit, he threw back the clock. It's like, no, bro. Like, he did that fucking 3 times this week. Enough.
It never left.
Exactly. And I love that.
Even in that, and me and you agree not to talk about this no more. I don't remember the last time you spoke, but even in that Houston debacle, that game against the Brooklyn Nets showed he had it then, right? So it never left. That 28 points against the Nets,
28 on 9 of 12 shooting.
Yeah, it's never left. He led OKC. He had like 8 straight games of 20 points as a first time player on the team. That was a record. Melo set a record in Oklahoma City. With Westbrook there, with KD back there before, and with Paul George. Melo did 7 or 8 straight games as a first-time player on that team, and that was a record.
In the beginning of the season, right?
In the beginning of the season.
Yeah, because they didn't let him touch the fucking ball.
Yeah, poor George bitched up. Oh, I'm not comfortable, and we're not going to get into that.
You know, people, that's like one of the main takeaways from the Black Ball doc is like, damn, I didn't know Paul George like went up to the coach and was like,
he sure did.
I need more minutes. I need more touches, whatever the fuck the case was. Like a few people have mentioned that to me. They're like, yo, I didn't know that. Like the Houston shit was cool, but
Yeah, he
So,
sure did. Yeah.
good shit, shedding the light on that. Yeah, bro. So that's it. Those are the questions I had. The last one, as you know, last time you came on, we asked the same thing. Control a narrative. Doesn't have to be Melo related. Doesn't have to be basketball related. Doesn't have to be sports related. You could take it wherever you want. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you control the narrative, Bika.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Once again, it was a great interview, and I appreciate any time you invite me. I'm there. Any projects you want to do, I'm there for you. I'm down. Bro. All right. As far as I keep it in the sports world, you know, in light of what's going on with the Draymond Green fiasco, and when he shed light on what's going on with players wanting trades and owners and the hypocrisy or the, you know, or the contradictions going on. I just want to control. I wish I can control the whole narrative of owners or people in the media saying that players should just play and be quiet. Like, you know, we provide the entertainment. We're the ones that put people in those seats, and sponsors to sponsor your company and things of that nature. Players add way more elements to the brand than just playing, and they should have a voice. They should be respected. So if there's one thing that I would want to control is to not allow anybody to tell anyone you don't have a voice and you should just be quiet and do what you're told just because you're in an agreement or in a contract, you're binded. That doesn't mean you should be a slave. So in that aspect, that's what I will control. And
the context here is you're talking about the Andre Drummond situation?
Drummond, James Harden, just in general, Deshaun Watson in football. Yep. Just in general, it's like you're a bad guy if you're unhappy or if you want out. But the ownerships and people of that nature can just tell you, you know what, Steve, you know, we just don't like you anymore. Yeah, we're going to call you into the to speak to Daryl Morey, and Daryl Morey's going to tell you, we don't need your services anymore. It's like no fair warning, no verbal warning, no. Let me have a meeting with you to tell you got to step up your game or nothing in life, whether you work in computers or anything. Like, no, you just can tell me, yo, we don't no longer need your services. That's disrespect. I understand ownership could do what the hell they want because they're the owner. I get it. But can we have some respect just as men and for women? Just respect. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell somebody just buy like that. You know what I'm saying? That's violation. So that's something I would want to control.
Word. And then, you know, it's like if you don't request a trade and want to go into a winning situation or whatever, and you just trust management and you be the good guy like Melo was for all those years in New York, it's a lose-lose because now like, all that anybody says, well, he never won a championship. And then if he went to Chicago, it doesn't really count. So it's a lose-lose with so many people.
Right.
It is what it is, Ben. If you know, and if you don't, then it's just like you just listen to the storylines, the headlines, and all that shit, which is
absolutely
annoying. So I feel you on that. But yo, let's go hop off and watch this.
Yeah, we got a game to watch.
Appreciate you seriously. A few hours in advance hopping on and going. We're trying to get on this shit for what, fucking 25 minutes. So appreciate you, Big Ha.
Absolutely. Can I just give a quick shout out?
I was gonna say, you want to shout anyone out or what?
Yeah. So of course, to my bro knows, to keep calm, stay mellow, to Big Rick, to Big G, Mello and Eli, to Boss Big Valet, to QMB 311, and all the Mello soldiers, warriors, Mello family, all my duns. I want to say salute, 3 to the dome, and as always, stay mellow, always.
As always, bro. Appreciate your time, Big Ha.
Peace.